The silent invasion. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the observation deck of the Intrepid as Captain Elena Reyes stood silently, her dark eyes fixed on the distant points of light. Her uniform, bearing the insignia of the United Earth Defense Fleet, remained crisp despite the 18-hour shift she'd just completed. The ship hummed around her, Earth's newest and most advanced vessel, yet still bound by the same rules that had governed interstellar travel for centuries. "Captain, incoming transmission from Outpost Helios," Lieutenant Marcus Chen called from his station, fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The young officer's face was illuminated by the soft blue glow of the screens. "Put it through," Elena replied, turning away from the stars. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the exhausted face of Commander Sasha Novak. The outpost commander's usual composed demeanor had given way to visible concern. "Captain Reyes, we've lost contact with New Cascadia Colony," Novak reported without preamble. "Complete silence for the past 36 hours. Elena frowned. "Technical difficulties?" That was my first thought. "But this makes 4 colonies in the past 2 months. First Proxima Settlement, then Archer's World, New Darwin, and now New Cascadia." The bridge fell silent as the implications settled over the crew. 4 colonies, all human outposts at the edge of explored space. All gone silent without warning or distress call. "No signs of attack?" Elena asked, though she already suspected. The answer: none. No distress signals, no debris fields. The automated monitoring satellites show all structures intact. It's as if everyone simply vanished. Elena's jaw tightened. "Have you reported this to the Galactic Concord?" "Of course," Novak replied with a hint of frustration. "Their response was the same as before. They've suggested we check our long-range communication equipment and reminded us that 4 isolated incidents don't constitute a pattern requiring intervention under Concord protocols. The Galactic Concord, the interstellar governing body that had maintained peace for 3 centuries, was notorious for its bureaucracy. Humanity, as relative newcomers to the galactic stage, often found their concerns deprioritized behind those of the founding species. "Send me all your data," Elena said. "We'll investigate ourselves." After the transmission ended, Lieutenant Chen approached. "The Concord should be taking this more seriously. 10,000 colonists don't just disappear." "The Concord follows protocols, Lieutenant," Elena replied, though her tone suggested she shared his frustration. "And their protocols say 4 missing colonies isn't enough evidence of coordinated action." She paused, then added more firmly, "Plot a course to New Cascadia. Let's see for ourselves." The Intrepid dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the New Cascadia system 3 days later. The colony planet hung in the viewport, a beautiful blue-green world that appeared peaceful from orbit. "Scans show colony infrastructure intact," reported Science Officer Dr. Imani Okafor from her station. "Power signatures are normal, atmospheric processors functioning, but I'm detecting no movement on the surface." "No ships in orbit or at the orbital platforms," Chen added. "Not even the defense vessels that should be stationed here." Elena studied the planet on the main screen. New Cascadia had been home to 12,000 colonists, scientists, farmers, engineers, and their families. People couldn't just vanish. "Any signs of the colony's defense ships?" she asked. "Nothing, Captain," Chen replied. "Wait, detecting debris in high orbit. Could be fragments from the colonial defense vessels." Elena ordered a small team to board a shuttle and investigate the surface. Though she wanted to lead the away team herself, she knew her place was on the Intrepid. If something had happened to New Cascadia, it could happen to them too. 6 hours later, the away team returned with disturbing news. "The colony is empty, Captain." Security Chief Maya Rodriguez reported, her usual stoic demeanor visibly shaken. "No bodies, no signs of struggle. Buildings intact, power running. Food left on tables, vehicles abandoned mid-journey. It's as if everyone vanished in the middle of their daily lives." "And the data cores?" Elena asked. "Wiped clean," Rodriguez confirmed. "Whoever did this didn't want to leave any evidence behind." That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She walked the quiet corridors of her ship, her mind racing with possibilities. For centuries, the Starship principle had maintained peace in the galaxy. The principle, simple in concept but revolutionary in practice, required all vessels, regardless of size, purpose, or origin, to have strict limitations on their weapon systems and defensive capabilities. No civilization could quickly overwhelm another, giving diplomacy time to work. Ensuring mutual vulnerability had ended centuries of interstellar conflict, but if someone was breaking that rule... Her personal communicator chimed. It was Chen. "Captain, I think I found something. Can you come to the data lab?" Elena found her lieutenant surrounded by holographic displays, his expression grave in the blue light. "I've been running deeper analysis on the communication logs from New Cascadia's orbital relay," he explained. "Most of the data was erased, but I found fragments of an encrypted transmission sent just before they went silent." He pulled up a display showing broken lines of code. "It took some work, but I managed to recover part of the message." With a gesture, he played the recovered transmission. Static filled the room, but through it, a woman's voice could be heard, tight with fear. "Not responding to hails. Ship doesn't match any known design. Weapons beyond anything we've..." More static followed, then the voice returned, clearer. "They aren't following the rules anymore." Elena felt ice spread through her veins. "Can you clean it up more? Get a full message?" Chen shook his head. "This is everything that survived, but, Captain, what rules was she talking about?" "The only rules that matter between civilizations," Elena replied quietly. "The Starship principle." The next morning, Elena called a meeting with her senior officers. The Intrepid's conference room was austere but functional, with a table made of actual wood, a luxury in space. "The evidence suggests that someone attacked 4 human colonies using technology that breaks the Starship principle," Elena told her team. "If true, this threatens not just Earth, but galactic peace itself." Chief Engineer Thomas Vargas spoke up, his weathered face skeptical. "That's a significant claim, Captain. The principle has held for 3 centuries. And it only takes one group to break it," Elena countered. "We need to investigate further, but carefully. If someone is using advanced weapons, even the Intrepid would be outmatched." "Should we inform Earth Command?" asked Dr. Okafor. Elena nodded. "I've sent a full report, but until we have more concrete evidence, I doubt they'll take major action." As if on cue, her communicator signaled an incoming transmission from Admiral Zhao Wei, head of Earth's Defense Forces. Elena activated the holographic projector at the center of the table. "Captain Reyes, I've reviewed your report," Admiral Zhao began, his expression grave. "While concerning, it's not enough for us to make accusations at the Concord. I'm giving you authorization to investigate further, but be discreet. The last thing we need is to appear paranoid to the elder species." After the call ended, Chen lingered in the conference room. "There's something else, isn't there?" Elena asked, recognizing the look on his face. "Yes, Captain. I did some digging into previous incidents similar to this one." He placed a data pad on the table. 5 times in the last century, outposts went silent along the borders of explored space. Each time the Concorde investigated and found nothing. Each time it was attributed to equipment failure, solar flares, or colonists abandoning their posts. Elena picked up the pad, scanning the information. "You think they're connected?" "I think something's been happening at the edges of our territory for a long time," Chen said carefully, "and I think someone's been covering it up." Elena looked out the viewport at the stars. The galaxy had been at peace for centuries, united under the Starship principle. But what if that peace was built on deception? "Set course for the border of Sector 14, she ordered. "There's an automated monitoring station there that might have recorded ships passing near New Cascadia." As the Intrepid prepared to jump to faster than light speed, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading towards something that would change the galaxy forever. The age of the Starship principle, the age of limitation, restraint, and careful peace, might be coming to an end, and humanity needed to be ready when it did. The old monitoring station floated in the darkness of space like a forgotten relic. Once marking the edge of human territory, it had been automated decades ago. its sensors still silently watching ships pass through this quiet sector of space. The Intrepid approached cautiously, running with minimal emissions. Captain Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the view screen. "Any signs of other vessels?" she asked. "None, Captain," Lieutenant Chen replied. "We appear to be alone." Dr. Okafor spoke up from her science station. "I'm accessing the station's sensor logs now. Data goes back approximately 4 months. Elena moved to stand behind Okafor's chair. "Look for anything unusual around the time New Cascadia went silent." Minutes passed in tense silence as Okafor sorted through the data. "There," she said suddenly, pointing to a blip on her screen. 8 days ago, a ship passed through this sector heading toward the New Cascadia system, but it doesn't match any known configuration in our database." On the screen, a blurry image appeared. The ship was elongated and sleek, with strange protrusions along its hull that might have been weapon ports. Elena had never seen anything like it. "Can you enhance the image?" she asked. Okafor tried, but the picture remained fuzzy. "This is the best I can do with the old sensors, but I found something else." She pulled up another screen. The station recorded energy readings from the ship. "If these are accurate, its power output is..." She hesitated. "It's more than 4 times what should be possible under the Starship principle." Elena felt her stomach tighten. "Any markings we can identify?" Chen leaned closer to the screen. "There, on the hull. That symbol." He tapped at his console, searching the database. "It belongs to the Vor Dominion." "The Vor?" Elena frowned. The Vor were among the founding members of the Galactic Concord, renowned for their diplomatic acumen and technological restraint. "That can't be right." "Maybe they're not who we thought they were," Rodriguez suggested from her security station. Elena shook her head. "Let's not jump to conclusions. Plot a course to..." "Captain," Chen interrupted, his voice urgent. "I'm picking up a distress signal. It's weak, but it's definitely coming from just outside this system. Put it through." Static filled the bridge, then a broken voice emerged. "Require immediate assistance. We are a Zinthari scientific vessel, under attack by unknown..." The message cut out, then returned. "Weapons unlike anything. Help us." The Zinthari were another founding species of the Concord, known for their scientific achievements and peaceful nature. Elena didn't hesitate. "Set course for that signal. Maximum speed. Prepare for possible engagement." The Intrepid shot through space toward the source of the distress call. Within minutes, they dropped out of faster-than-light travel into a scene of destruction. A Zinthari vessel drifted in space, torn apart by what must have been incredibly powerful weapons. Pieces of the ship floated around it like a metallic cloud. The vessel's main section remained intact but dark and lifeless. "Life signs?" Elena asked. Okafor shook her head. "None, Captain. But the ship's core is still stable. We could send a team to investigate." Elena nodded. "Prepare a boarding party. I'm going with them." Chen looked surprised. "Captain, protocol states that you should..." "I know what protocol says, Lieutenant." Elena cut him off. "But I need to see this for myself." The inside of the Zinthari vessel was cold and silent. Elena led a small team through the darkened corridors, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. The air was thin but breathable. The Zinthari, with their humanoid forms and adaptable physiology, required similar atmospheric conditions to humans. They reached the bridge to find it empty of life. The Zinthari, known for their iridescent skin and deliberate movements, were nowhere to be seen. But the ship's computers still functioned. "See if you can access their logs," Elena ordered. "I want to know what happened here." Technical officer Raj Patel nodded and began working at the alien console. The Zinthari used a surprisingly intuitive operating system that most humans could navigate with minimal training. "Captain," Patel called after a few minutes, "I found the final log entry. It's disturbing." The screen lit up with the face of a Zinthari, its normally luminescent skin dull with fear. "This will be our final record," the alien said in its melodic voice. "The ship that attacked us bore markings of the Vor Dominion, but its design was like nothing we've encountered. Its weapons..." The Zinthari paused. its large eyes blinking rapidly in distress. They should not exist, not under the principle. We tried to communicate, but they opened fire without warning. Before our systems failed, we detected modifications to their ship that go far beyond what is permitted. If anyone finds this message, warn the Concorde. Something terrible is happening. The recording ended. Elena felt a coldness that had nothing to do with the ship's failed life support. Keep searching, she told her team. I want to know everything about this ship and what happened to it. As they explored further, they found something even more alarming in the cargo hold. Weapons. Advanced weapons that the peaceful Zinthari shouldn't have possessed. These don't match any known Zinthari designs, Rodriguez said, examining one of the rifle-like objects. They're more advanced than anything I've seen before. Elena picked up one of the weapons. It was lighter than it looked, the metal warm to the touch despite the ship's cold interior. They were preparing for something, arming themselves despite the principle. Captain, Chen called over the comm. You need to return to the Intrepid immediately. We're receiving an emergency transmission from Earth. Back on the Intrepid, Elena watched as Admiral Zhao's face filled the main screen. The Admiral looked grim. Captain Reyes, the situation has escalated, Zhao said without preamble. The Galactic, Concord has called an emergency summit. 9 major civilizations have reported missing colonies or outposts in the past week alone. This isn't just happening to humans. Elena shared what they had found on the Zinthari vessel. Zhao's expression grew darker with each word. This confirms our worst fears, the Admiral said. Someone is violating the Starship principle on a massive scale. I need you to return to Earth immediately. The Concord representatives will arrive in 36 hours. As the Intrepid set course for Earth, Elena stood alone in her quarters, thinking about what she had seen. The Starship principle had been the foundation of peace for centuries. Every civilization agreed to limit their military technology, ensuring that no one could gain too much power too quickly. Without those limits, war would return to the stars, and from what she had seen on that Zinthari vessel, someone was already preparing for it. Her door chimed. It was Chen. Captain, there's something else you should know, he said. I analyzed one of the weapons we found. It has components from multiple civilizations, Zinthari, Vor, human, and at least 3 others. Whoever built it had access to technology from across the galaxy. Elena considered this. Not a single rogue group, then. This is bigger. Yes, Captain, and one more thing. Chen hesitated. The computer picked up a name in the Zinthari logs, something called the Amalgam. Before Elena could respond, the ship's alarms blared. Captain, to the bridge, came the urgent call over the comm system. When they arrived, Okafor was at her station, her face pale. Captain, we just received word from Earth. A fleet of unidentified vessels has appeared near Mars. They're heading toward Earth with weapons hot. Elena felt her heart sink. The peace had already been broken and humanity was in the crosshairs. Humanity unbound, the Intrepid pushed its engines beyond safe limits, racing toward Earth. On the bridge, Captain Elena Reyes watched the status reports with growing dread. Earth's orbital defenses were engaged with the unknown fleet, but the reports were grim. How much longer until we reach Earth? Elena asked, her voice tense but controlled. 2 hours at current speed, Chen replied, his eyes never leaving his console. The battle might be over by then, Rodriguez muttered. Elena gripped the arms of her command chair. Can we go any faster? Chief Engineer Vargas's voice came over the comm. Captain, the engines are already running hot. Push them any harder and we risk a core breach. Elena closed her eyes briefly. The Intrepid, Earth's most advanced vessel, might arrive too late to make a difference. Captain, Okafor called. I'm receiving a new transmission from Earth Defense. Command. Admiral Zhao is requesting to speak with you. Zhao's face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Elena could see Earth's command center in chaos, with officers running back and forth. Captain Reyes, the situation is critical, Zhao said, his voice steady despite the obvious strain. The enemy fleet consists of 28 ships, of unknown design. They've already destroyed 5 of our orbital platforms and 2 defensive vessels. What about civilian evacuation? Elena asked. It's underway, but there's not enough time to get everyone off planet. Zhao replied grimly. I've made a decision, Captain. I'm activating Protocol Omega. Elena felt her breath catch. Protocol Omega was a last resort measure, something discussed only in the most classified briefings, attended only by ship captains and the highest echelons of Earth Command. Admiral, are you certain? Elena asked carefully. Once we cross that line. The line has already been crossed, Captain, Zhao interrupted. The Starship principle is dead. We need to accept that reality and respond accordingly. He looked directly at the camera. Your ship has hidden capabilities, Captain Reyes. It's time to use them. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Captain? Chen asked quietly. Elena stood up. Lieutenant Chen, Chief Engineer Vargas, come with me. The rest of you continue on course for Earth. Deep in the Intrepid's engineering section, Elena led Chen and Vargas to a sealed door marked Maintenance Access Only. She placed her hand on a scanner hidden behind a panel. Captain Elena Reyes, authorization code Omega Alpha 723, she said clearly. The door slid open, revealing a room that shouldn't exist. Inside was a secondary control center filled with equipment neither Chen nor Vargas had ever seen before. What is this place? Vargas asked, his eyes wide. The truth, Elena said simply. For the past 200 years, Earth has been preparing for the day when the Starship principle might fail. Every ship in our fleet has a secret section like this one, containing systems that go far beyond what the principle allows. She moved to a control panel and entered a series of commands. Throughout the ship, hidden compartments began to open, revealing weapons and technology that had been concealed even from the crew. We never wanted to use these, Elena continued. The principle kept the peace, but now that others have broken it, we have no choice. Vargas ran his hand over one of the newly revealed control panels. These power readings, they're impossible. Not impossible, Elena corrected him. Just forbidden. Until now. Chen looked at his captain with new eyes. You knew about this all along. Only ship captains and the highest levels of Earth Command are briefed on Omega. Elena met his gaze. I didn't like keeping secrets from my crew, but it was necessary. A notification beeped on the main console. Elena checked it and nodded grimly. It's happening across the fleet. Every Earth ship is activating their hidden systems. She turned to Vargas. Chief, I need you to integrate these new systems with our main controls. We have less than 2 hours to learn how to use weapons no human has ever fired in combat. The battle over Earth was visible from millions of miles away. Flashes of light marked the destruction of ships and defense platforms. The unknown fleet, the amalgam as they now knew, had pushed past the outer defenses and was approaching Earth orbit. The Intrepid dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, joining 7 other human warships that had responded to the distress call. Status report, Elena ordered as they approached the battle. 19 enemy ships still active, Okafor reported. Earth's orbital defenses are at 22% capacity. Civilian evacuation is ongoing but progressing slowly. Elena opened a channel to the other human ships. This is Captain Reyes of the Intrepid. Protocol Omega is active. All ships prepare to engage with full capabilities. On the main view screen, Elena could see the enemy fleet. The ships were sleek and powerful, unlike any known design. They moved with precision, targeting Earth's defenses methodically. They're well coordinated, Rodriguez observed, fighting as a unified force. Elena nodded. Target the lead vessel. Let's show them what humanity has been hiding. The Intrepid surged forward, its newly revealed weapons powering up. Energy readings spiked to levels that would have been impossible. Under the Starship principle, weapons locked, Rodriguez reported from Tactical. Ready to fire. Elena took a deep breath. This was the moment when humanity would reveal its true strength and break the principle they had publicly upheld for centuries. Fire. The Intrepid released a beam of energy so intense that it was difficult to look at directly. It struck the lead enemy vessel, cutting through its shields as if they weren't there. The ship broke apart in a silent explosion. The other human ships followed suit, unleashing weapons that had been kept secret for generations. The enemy fleet, caught by surprise, began to scatter. They didn't expect this, Chen said, watching the battle unfold. They thought we were following the principle. This is just the beginning, Elena replied. Target their command ship next. The tide of battle turned quickly. The enemy fleet, facing weapons they hadn't prepared for, began a fighting retreat. Within an hour, they had withdrawn from Earth orbit, jumping to faster-than-light speed with the human fleet in pursuit. As the Intrepid followed, Admiral Zhao contacted them again. Well done, Captain Reyes, he said. But this isn't over. The Amalgam has attacked 3 other worlds in the past hour. This was coordinated. What are our orders? Elena asked. Track that fleet. Find out where they're going and who they really are, Zhao replied, his face grim. Meanwhile, I'll be at the emergency Concord meeting, explaining why Earth just revealed weapons technology we swore we didn't have. After the call ended, Elena stood in silence for a moment. The crew watched her, waiting. The galaxy changed. Today, she finally said. For centuries, every civilized world followed the Starship principle. We limited our weapons, our defenses, our technology, all to maintain peace. She looked around at her crew. That era is over now. We need to be ready for what comes next. Chen stepped closer. Captain, if we had these weapons all along, why didn't we use them to protect our colonies? Because once we revealed them, there was no going back, Elena answered. Earth Command hoped to find another solution. She shook her head. They waited. Too long. Captain, Okafor called out. I'm tracking the enemy fleet. They're heading toward the Deimos Nebula, unclaimed territory near the border of Vor Dominion space. Elena nodded. Follow them, but maintain distance. We don't want to engage until we know exactly what we're dealing with. For 3 days, the Intrepid tracked the retreating Amalgam fleet through the darkness of space. Finally, they arrived at a massive space station hidden within the nebula's swirling gases. It's enormous, Vargas whispered as they viewed the structure on the main screen. At least 20 kilometers across. And it doesn't match any known design, added Okafor. But I'm detecting components from multiple civilizations, Vor, Zinthari, even human technology. They've been taking our people, Rodriguez realized. Not just killing them, taking our technology, our knowledge. Elena studied the station. Can we get closer without being detected? The nebula provides good cover, Chen replied. If we keep our emissions low, we should be able to approach within scanning range. As they drew closer, the Intrepid's enhanced sensors revealed more details about the massive station. It appeared to be a hybrid, a combination of technologies, from across the galaxy, all working together in ways that should have been impossible. Captain, I'm detecting hundreds of ships docked at the station, Okafor reported, many with the same configuration as the vessels that attacked Earth. And I'm picking up transmissions, Chen added. They're encrypted, but he worked at his console. I think I can break through. After several tense minutes, the main screen flickered to life, showing the interior of what appeared to be the station's command center. Elena stared in shock at what she saw. The beings operating the station weren't a single species. They were amalgamations, cybernetic hybrids combining aspects of various galactic races. Some had the iridescent skin of the Zinthari paired with Vor facial structures. Others showed human features alongside the crystalline growths characteristic of the Tellan species. What are they? Rodriguez whispered. The true face of the amalgam, Elena replied. They're combining different species, creating something new. As they watched, a figure stepped into view that made Elena's blood run cold. It appeared mostly human, but with Vortech implants visible along its skull and jaw. When it spoke, its voice was a discordant blend of mechanical and organic tones. The integration proceeds as planned, the hybrid said. Earth's response was unexpected. They've been hiding capabilities beyond our projections, but it changes nothing. The old order is ending. The principle failed. Only through unity, true unity, can the galaxy survive what's coming. Captain, Chen said urgently, they've detected us, multiple ships disengaging from the station. Elena made her decision quickly. Send everything we've recorded to Earth Command, then set course for the rendezvous coordinates. We need to join the other human vessels. As the Intrepid sped away from the nebula, Elena knew they'd glimpsed only the beginning of something that would reshape the galaxy. The amalgam wasn't just breaking the Starship principle. They were creating a new type of existence, one that blurred the lines between species, between organic and machine. 2 weeks later, Elena stood in the grand chamber of the Galactic Concord alongside representatives from 12 species. The emergency summit had been in session for days as evidence of the amalgam's activities came to light. Admiral Zhao approached her before the final session. You did well, Captain. Your discovery helped convince the Concord that this threat is real. But we still don't know their ultimate goal, Elena said, or why they're combining different species. Perhaps today we'll get answers, Zhao replied. The VOR representative has requested to address the assembly. They claim to have information about the amalgam's origins. As the session began, the VOR representative took the central podium. Tall and dignified with their characteristic copper-toned skin, the VOR had been uncharacteristically silent throughout the summit. Honored representatives, the VOR began, their voice resonant in the chamber. What I must share brings my people great shame. The entity you call the amalgam began as a VOR research initiative 3 centuries ago, a response to a threat from beyond the galaxy's edge. Murmurs filled the chamber. Elena leaned forward, listening intently. Our long-range sensors detected something approaching, a force unlike anything we had encountered. We believed the Starship principle, while noble, would leave us defenseless against this external threat. So we created a secret program to develop technologies beyond the principle's limitations. The VOR paused, their expression somber. But the program evolved beyond its original purpose. The researchers began experimenting with combining technologies from different species, then with combining the species themselves. They believed that only by unifying all galactic life could we survive the coming storm. They broke away from our government, taking their research and followers with them. Why didn't you warn the Concord? Demanded the Zinthari representative. Pride, the VOR admitted. Shame. Fear of losing our standing. We believed we could contain the situation ourselves. We were wrong. Elena looked at Zhao, who nodded grimly. Earth wasn't the only civilization that had been keeping secrets. In the days that followed, a new alliance formed, not based on the careful limitations of the Starship principle, but on transparency and shared strength. Earth revealed the full extent of its hidden technologies. The Zinthari shared their advanced biological sciences. The Tellan opened their quantum computing networks. 1 month later, a combined fleet of ships from 17 civilizations converged on the Deimos Nebula. The Intrepid led one of the attack wings, its weapons now fully integrated and openly displayed. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. The amalgam fought with desperate ferocity, but against the united forces of the Concord species, they couldn't prevail. Their station, their home, was disabled rather than destroyed, preserved for study and perhaps rehabilitation of those who could be saved. After it was over, Elena stood again in the observation deck of the Intrepid, looking out at the stars. Chen joined her, standing silently for a moment before speaking. The VOR say the external threat is still out there, approaching slowly but inexorably. Elena nodded. And now we'll face it together, without secrets between us. Do you think the Starship principle was a mistake? Chen asked. No, Elena replied, thoughtfully. It gave us centuries of peace. But peace built on mutual limitation could only last until fear became stronger than trust. She turned from the viewport to face her first officer. What comes next won't be easy. Creating something new rarely is. But at least now we're honest about who we are and what we can do. As the Intrepid joined the fleet returning to Earth, Elena knew the galaxy would never forget this moment, the day when the Starship principle ended and a new era began. an era where civilization strength came not from restraint, but from the open sharing of power and knowledge. The stars seemed different somehow as they stretched into lines of light during the jump to faster-than-light speed. Not colder or more distant, but more connected. As if the invisible bonds between worlds had been reforged into something stronger than before, something that might, just might, be strong enough to face whatever was coming from beyond the edge of known space.